So welcome to our pop art project. One of the things that you can choose as your subject matter would be a sports ball, like a basketball or a football or in my case, a soccer ball. The trick I used to make this more of a perfect sphere was I simply grounded my wrist and turned the paper. So it's kind of an interesting little trick that you can do there. I'm making sure that once I have things figured out in pencil, I go ahead and outline with Sharpie. This is going to help me figure out about where things should be. Acrylic paint is just a pinch of the transparent side, so you still should be able to see that line work through what you're painting. Now, a lot of times people want to immediately go in and start painting those, in this case, white and black shapes. However, you do want to pay attention to the gradient and the shadow and the light direction. So in other words, with this case, I have a black and white ball, so I'm going to start with black as my basic shadow, and then I'm going to start adding white and adding white and adding white. And that's going to create a little more of a gray in between. And the more that I paint towards that highlighted area where that light is coming from, the more of a three-dimensional look that I have. So I want to make this look not just like a flat piece of art. I want to make it look at least a little bit three-dimensional. And then of course you go back in and start getting those details. Keep in mind that one of the expectations for this lesson is to have not one, but at least two gradients. So two colors that blend into each other. Try not to have them be too separated. You want to make sure you get some intermediates in between there. So in this case, for the background, I'm doing yellow that kind of goes into a yellow-orange in between. So, and then of course with the soccer ball, it went from black to gray to white. Now, once you get to the point where you are done painting, you do need to pause before you can head on over to the next step, because you want to make sure that all the acrylic is dry before you go in with acrylic pens and acrylic markers for details. So since I lost some of my line work, I'm going to make sure that I go in, and what I'm using right now is an ink dauber. It will give you a broader line, however it is a bit trickier to use. It has a tendency to splatter a little more. The acrylic pens give you a much more refined look, smaller line work, and all you have to do is go over your pencil lines, which you should be able to see through fairly easily. Of course, you can go around anything that you'd like there. And then make sure that you can add a little bit of detail, a little bit of highlight, however you want to. The idea is to make bold lines, broad line, really make this artwork pop. And then you don't want to leave all that extra white around the outside just to complete it, make it look a little more of an unusual shape. So go ahead, cut her out, and then you can turn her in.